Entrepreneurs with great ideas to address problems and opportunities in Zimbabwe cannot rely on the usual foundations as they might in more developed countries, because in Zimbabwe they simply do not exist. By usual foundations, of course, we're talking about laws, regulatory oversight, and government protection. Good ideas can easily morph into failed ones if an entrepreneur inadvertently presumes on the sustenance of phantom trust enhancing societal foundations. The entrepreneurial solution is to embrace the situation and to explicitly focus on nurturing trust as a complement to the problem being solved. The first episode of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, creating the conditions to create, hosted by Cliff Nemachina. Let's talk about trust for a minute. Imagine you want to buy a locally manufactured wristwatch. You type the name into your Google search bar, and instantly the web not only gives you information about the product, but also ratings from other users. When your electricity is faulty, several electricians, all rated by reliability, are at hand to fix it. If the electrician doesn't do a good job, there are always ways to take him to task. Remember that wristwatch you bought online? If a courier service leaves your package on your doorstep, you trust that someone won't grab it and run. This is not tempting fate, ladies and gentlemen, but a natural response to the empirical reality that decades of security and safety have bred in you trust in the urban life. This ambient trust, of course, is more prominent in the developed world. It is this ambient trust that permits the system to even function. Trust oxygenates, it enlivens our existence, and facilitates every interaction, whether complex or mundane, business or personal. The idea of trust goes back to the very roots of economics itself. Consider the concept of the invisible hand, developed by Adam Smith, the father of economics, in which people, following their own self interests, guide the markets to stability. Right as he was to marvel at the almost magical cumulative effect of each individual acting in their own self interest, but even he emphasized the importance of trust for the functioning of the markets. For him, trust was the hidden engine of economic progress. Creating trust can give business a competitive edge in Zimbabwe. The entire system is weighed down by an extreme lack of trust. Such distrust imposes a tremendous cognitive burden, like sand in society's wheels, which slows things down and consumes extra energy. Distrust drains one's zest for life. It has an enervating effect on attempts to be creative, to solve problems, even to just get on with daily living. The painful thing is, as humans, we are all creatures of habit, and hence we get conditioned to shrug and live with it. I could go on discussing the effects of distrust on economic progress, but then one might ask, what could be the solution to this problem? We should not underestimate the power of individual initiative, even against impossible odds. And the odds are staked firmly against a creative individual seeking to solve a problem while enveloped by an institutionally weak and low trust environment. But we can do better than point fingers at our incompetent government or blaming the venality of corrupt individuals. We can take a page out of actions of so many right around us in the developed world. Craig Newmark, founder of Craigslist, he says, better to light a candle than to fight the darkness. He used an old saying to reflect on the general problem of how we can find credible information. I would say the solution to the problem caused by mistrust usually lies ultimately with the insights of an individual entrepreneur. All celebrated entities began as the actions of an innovative entrepreneur. Zimbabwe lacks um, credibility enhancers, and we should be encouraging their creation. They could then ensure would-be and rightly skeptical buyers, such as myself, that a seller's representations are credible. There's a lot of room for creativity in this endeavor. Such an entity can be specific to certain needs or industry, or can be an all-encompassing solution. It might make money for the owners or simply run as a social service. This is a perfect task for a would-be entrepreneur. The organization will solve the low trust problem for consumers. Consumers cannot rely on self-serving promotional content from companies and service providers. What comes first, trust or trust-enhancing institutions? I will leave that debate to you. But both are part of the effort to improve the conditions for problem solving. The credibility enhancing platform itself will have to earn the trust it seeks to spread. Thank you for joining me for this short episode of Disrupt Zimbabwe in the series Creating the Conditions to Create. I hope you learned something here. If you're interested in joining me for a discussion, please connect with me on Twitter at Cliff Nemachena. Thank you again. Goodbye.